This is Daily Armenia, CivilNet's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Some of Armenian captives held in Azerbaijani jails have attempted suicide in recent weeks. Human rights lawyer Siranush Sahakyan told Radio Free Europe's Armenian service today. Sahakyan, who represents the prisoners' cases at the European Court of Human Rights, said the incidents came to light during recent phone conversations between the detainees and their families. Unfortunately, I cannot specify names. What I can say is that the suicide attempts were not among the former leaders of Nagorno-Karabakh, but among other captives, Sahakyan said. These attempts have been repeated since visits by the International Committee of the Red Cross were halted, she explained. According to Sahakyan, the prisoners have been kept in complete isolation for nearly 2 months with no access to international monitoring bodies. Their physical and psychological condition remains unclear. Families have reported serious health concerns and deepening despair during the most recent phone calls. Armenia itself is not making any effort to secure visits to its citizens in Baku, Sahakyan said, suggesting that this may be due to Yerevan's reluctance to create additional tensions with Baku at the present moment. Earlier this year, Sahakyan's organization, the Center for International Comparative Law, formally asked Armenia's foreign ministry to consider delegating consular protection rights for Armenian prisoners in Baku to Switzerland as a neutral party. No updates on that proposal have been made so far, she noted. The International Committee of the Red Cross last visited Armenian captives in Baku in June. Since then, the organization has been forced to shut down its operations in Azerbaijan at the demand of the authorities. Sahakyan pointed out that although the Red Cross has been expelled from Azerbaijan, its head office in Geneva could still engage Baku on the matter of Armenian prisoners. A total of 23 Armenians remain in Azerbaijani captivity. Among them are former Nagorno-Karabakh top officials, including 3 ex-presidents, prisoners of war from the 2020 conflict, and civilians. The Washington agreements between Armenia and Azerbaijan should be seen not as an endpoint, but as a fresh start, according to Vicken Cheterian, lecturer at the University of Geneva. Speaking to CivilNet today, he argued that the initial signing of a normalization deal at the White House last month marked a turning point, though it remains only an expression of intent by both sides. Today our questions have shifted. We no longer ask when the next war will break out, but rather what the nature of this new peace will be. From the depopulation of Nagorno-Karabakh to the 2022 attack on Armenia, and before that the 2020 war, the current negotiations are the product of these defeats. Expecting successful diplomacy after such heavy losses is simply wishful thinking, Cheterian told CivilNet. The most vulnerable aspect, in Cheterian's view, is the exclusion of the Karabakh issue from the peace process. He stressed that Armenia and Azerbaijan need to continue discussing it not only at the diplomatic and political level, but also involve society at large. It is not sincere to simply declare this topic closed, he said. While Azerbaijan recorded military victories, Cheterian noted, it also accumulated obligations to third countries, which have already created strains in Baku's ties with Moscow. According to him, some unfulfilled promises made by President Ilham Aliyev, apparently to Vladimir Putin personally, have contributed to worsening relations between Azerbaijan and Russia in recent months. Cheterian also suggested that as Russia's war in Ukraine probably nears its end, a new struggle could begin, with the South Caucasus potentially becoming a stage. In such a scenario, Russia's first target might be Azerbaijan, followed by Armenia. While there has been a sense of psychological relief in Armenia since the August 8th agreement, this does not mean the region is now safe. Today, both Armenia and the South Caucasus are entering a far more complex and dangerous phase than in 2020. Recognizing this reality must shape Armenia's political course, Cheterian concluded. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 84. That is because Sergei Dovlatov, a renowned Armenian Jewish writer, was born in Soviet Russia 84 years ago today. He wrote mainly autobiographical prose rather than full-fledged fiction, and became famous for his structural and stylistic choices that kept the narrative light and dynamic, holding the reader's attention with remarkable ease. Although he wrote in Russian, most of his prose has since been translated into Armenian, as well as many other languages. In his later interviews, Dovlatov often referred to himself as a storyteller rather than a writer, yet he longed for publication. Soviet censorship largely denied him that opportunity and ultimately forced him into exile. From 1978, he lived in New York, where he achieved literary success, publishing numerous prose works and working as a journalist, including regular contributions for Radio Liberty. His life was cut short in 1990 due to heart failure, but Dovlatov remains one of the most popular writers for readers across post-Soviet countries. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.